SSC, which is Secure Send Events, and a little background in normal request flow. So suppose you are sending a request to any server, you send a request and you get a response back, and that ends the flow. So that is what is happening in a normal request or a normal APIs. The next thing comes as socket. So you have a chat application where your client and server are they keep communicating with each other. So they kind of have a continuous communication which is not being broken compared to this flow, where after getting a response the communication breaks, but in socket it is the connection is alive till one of the party breaks. So what if don't want any information from the client and I want to keep sending some information to the client? Like as a server, I want to keep sending some notification or sending some updates to the client. So at that point, I have a SSC, server send event. The client first request for some data, and as a response, I will continuously send the information. So this maybe can be used in a place like uh, you have a live scorecard update or stock market updates or some monitor where you want the server to continuously send you update. So next we are gonna see how to create a SSC server in Go. I have already the project ready. This is my server folder, and server.go. Initially, I'm just creating a basic server with a endpoint SSE and at 8080 port. And in the handle event function, which is my main function, I have this is the main thing. Like I have to set the headers as event string. Otherwise, the connection won't be alive or like it won't work. Next, for this sample code, I have created a ticker. Like after every 2 seconds, it will send some information to my client. This is an important thing. The SSE have a specific requirement that we should either send data ID, the specific field which need to be sent, in a specific format. Otherwise, it won't be able to decode the event or the information which you are sending. The other main thing, after every maybe byte or after every event, you have to flush it to the client. So this is basically like you are sending your whatever data has been there, you're flushing it. And as a context, if the server breaks, then we will just return it. So the SSE basically works well with the browser. So I have created a HTML file which is my kind of a client. Here I'm creating an event source. So this event source is basically an interface which is responsible for implementing SSE. You can basically check the document provided here. So web interface to SSE events. So if you see, I have specific fields, states, error message, open, close. There's some JavaScript methods which I can use to check if my connection is alive or not. Yeah. So basically, I have to set the data in my server so it would be able to read as it is. So coming back to my code, if I check data, I have a specific message event struct or field set. We can either set the data last event ID. So this is basically for retry. If suppose for any reason your client breaks, then your browser would be responsible for retrying. It would be resending the last send event, and it would be continuing from that instance. Like it doesn't have to retry from beginning of your information. And yeah, let's maybe start. Let me run my server. My server is running. I'm not printing anything actually. And now let me open this file. index.html. Let me check the console. In the console, I am getting some data continuously. So every 2 seconds, the server is sending some data, and as a client, we are receiving it. So suppose, as I mentioned you before, in case I am sending some other data instead of data, like suppose maybe I can type some field as message or maybe dummy. Let me restart my server. And suppose if now I reload the page, I have the SSC connection opened, but I'm not getting any field. This is because I have this dummy field. So if I revert it back to data, it should be able to print. Yep. So we have another thing called a streaming HTTP. It is a generic technique to send data in chunks over a single HTTP response. But unlike SSC, it is not browser specific, and in this case, it is automatically passing the fields like the message or data field. But in streaming HTTP, we are responsible for the retry logic and all the passing. So yeah, this was a simple video on what is SSE and how to use it. So yeah, thanks.